Hello, Bible readers. It is Friday, October 16th, and we're reading Joshua chapters 8 and 9, Luke chapter 14, the whole chapter. And I'm going to start with Joshua. This is where Joshua builds an altar. We have seen lots of characters thus far in the Torah, the first 5 books, the Pentateuch. We've seen lots of altar building. Joshua is doing the same. And then we get an account of the destruction of the South. And I think even in my very limited experience in my own lifetime of war and the amount that I've read about it, to have such certainty given from God to Joshua, you're going to go in there and you're going to wipe them out. You're going to win. War is such an uncertain business. Ascribing certain victory from God for Joshua is really quite a claim and says a lot about the author's full and complete confidence that he wants to convey in the Lord. And the other thing that I find really interesting is in chapter 9, these Gibeonites that kind of trick Joshua out of destroying them. This is kind of a foreshadow of Gentiles being included in the nation of Israel. Israel will not always only be Israel. Israel will eventually also include Germans and Norwegians like us and everybody else. You know, a Gentile is anyone who's not an Israelite, who's not a Jew. And so the Gibeonites are kind of a first example of how there is room, perhaps, for God to figure out how to include others. Of course, it's very contrary to the rest of Joshua, right? I mean, like we've said before, this is basically genocide. To Luke. Luke is appealing, I haven't said this enough really, Luke is appealing to a Greek cultured audience. The Greek culture is the sophisticated culture of the time. And Luke is writing in sophisticated Greek. All the Gospels are written in Greek in the language, but Luke is really writing to a sophisticated audience. And one of the things that those audiences would be used to are certain situations. So for example, TV dramas, there are always going to be TV dramas based in an emergency room, TV dramas based in a police department. Those kinds of or like sitcoms, situational comedies. You know, the living room is a typical place where funny things happen in a sitcom. Well, to a Greek cultured audience, the banquet would be the common situation for a writing like Luke. And so Luke uses banquet a lot. It's where Luke talks about invitations, accepting and rejecting. It's where those awkward moments are happening between the Pharisees and Jesus. And so here at this banquet, in chapter 14, this is Jesus as philosopher. You know, the Greeks had philosophy as a part of their culture. And yes, Jesus is a rabbi, is a teacher. And of course, Luke wants to present Jesus as prophet, but this is Jesus as philosopher. Notice Jesus is not offering a how-to about how to get exalted. As some churches might say, you know, here's how to get what you want. Like, this is not Jesus saying, here's how to be exalted. He's speaking to a mindset that craves personal glory. And how that's the part that we get wrong immediately. Just don't even go into the room trying to get exalted, and you have a greater chance of being actually exalted. The second half of chapter 14 is the same scene, same audience. Excuses to not come are rooted in entanglements with possessions. And Luke is going to get into, already has, but is going to get more into examples of how possessions and wealth can really get in the way of faithfulness and a relationship with God. God's call or invitation is not to be refused. And then, of course, the last thing Luke wants to get through in chapter 14 is don't start if you can't finish. If you're going to show up, get her done. Don't just show up. I am one with my God. My God is with us, all of us, at all times and in all places.